Top 5 realignment thoughts of the day. I mean, I could do many other topics, but right now it would just be stupid. I could finish my Big 12, like how they win the Big 12s, which might happen. I've got one in the kitty for Iowa State, Emory. I think that's the one. Houston. Yeah. Yeah, we already did Iowa State. It's just been so long with all these realignments. But number 5, if the Pac-12 is in fact no more, then do the ACC and Mountain West Conference move up a rung on the playoff ladder? Now, Bill Hancock, of course, kind of rained on that parade a little bit, saying they're going to make the appropriate decisions when they have to. So I'm kind of worried that they're not going to go stick their neck out and go, well, we said the top 6. Well, now that one of those conferences is gone, we're not going to do that anymore. It's going to be the top 5, and then they'll just add that large bid.
Okay.
I mean, I think that, like, they've never been all that altruistic before to these leagues, and I don't see any reason to start now.
Yeah,
I thought they would. I wish they would.
Is that – I know the FSU, ACC, all that. I know that that's going to take center stage here even more so, but this is what's next, right? How are they going to react? The Big 12 did when they lost Texas and Oklahoma, and they did immediately, like within a couple of months. And now the question is, who is it going to be called? The Pac-12? Is it going to be called the Mountain West? Is it going to?
Well, I mean, like, again, my question is just about the playoff. Here. So, like, if it's the top 6, does now that mean that the AAC and the Mountain West have a better opportunity? Because
it doesn't matter the name of the conference, but the better opportunity, absolutely. If it ends up being,
but Bill Hancock kind of maybe said, well, it may not be like he said. Well, they'll make that appropriate determination when they have to.
Yeah, I know.
So,
and I don't.
Things have changed. Number 4 is private equity coming to college sports. Because that's what Florida State – we haven't even really talked about this that much today.
Because we
had so much other actual breaking news.
Unfortunately, Paul, I know we did mention it. Spotify had the report, but –
Sportico.
Spotify. And then wasn't that the tweet?
No, Sportico. Sportico is the business. Spotify is where you listen to Taylor Swift.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can you listen to Disturbed on Spotify?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. Whoever they are until they get pissed off about Rogan being there.
All right, so
but Florida State
the answer to that is I would think it's going to invade the NFL, pro sports, and I think eventually it's going to invade. It's like gambling.
Yeah, but see, so the private equity that we're talking about is not necessarily. So I know there's a meme going around about Saudi Arabia. I don't know if the money that Florida State is looking at is necessarily coming from them. The report from Sportico says J.P. Morgan Chase, which is an American company, but they, of course, take money from everywhere, and Sixth Street Partners, which is an American company, but I don't know where all their money comes from, but they have like $65 billion.
Out of Austin, Texas?
Yeah, absolutely is. And so Sixth Street Partners, they are one of the firms. They've got a partnership in the Spurs, Barcelona. There's another college or another European soccer team. They also bought a national women's soccer league franchise, the highest valuation for that. So they are in this. So Florida State has gone to be a part of this, and there are laws in Florida that may allow them to do this maybe differently than other states could. So as private equity coming to college sports, and if Florida State does it, who else is not far behind doing it? Because it's not like they're going to be the only ones who are like, we thought of this before all the rest of you guys.
All right, no,
we get all the private equity funds.
Well,
no,
I agree, but you know what? We know about some of the businesses or professions that sponsor sports, pro or college, beer, right? But gambling was a no-no. Mm-hmm. And now you see the spots, the various sports books or whoever. FanDuel, what's the other one? DraftKings. You're seeing them, they're everywhere. And then, of course, it's a no-no to talk about ED. Now you see those commercials everywhere. Am I right? And then you're going to have this will be a part of it. Just like whatever can develop the money, create the money, help people pay the bills and or survive, yes.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at?
This is a funny comment. Nobody would get it except for FSU people.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was a pretty funny thing. Number 3.
We should have about 10,000 FSU people who watch because.
You would think, yeah. Which Pac-12 schools will have new presidents soon? We know Stanford will. Arizona State, I wonder about Michael Crow. And I'll say this. He has done things for that university academically that there was probably a time they could only dream of. And they have taken the step. They are on the cutting edge of a lot of things in Tempe on the academic side. On the athletic side, they've kind of lulled into mediocrity. And being one of the biggest universities in the country, the kind of ridiculously diverse student population that comes from all over the country to go there, they've got a lot of things going for them. So athletically, it should be a no-brainer that, a down year should be 8-4 in football. They should be an NCAA tournament team in basketball just by waking up in the morning. They used to have the best baseball program you could possibly imagine at Arizona State. All the things should be good there, but they've just not been. And for university presidents, these are the things that get you fired. Really. I mean, you see it all the time. They can navigate a lot of the educational pitfalls and wind through, but I've seen it happen here twice at Baylor, where the presidents that got fired and let go, John Lilly and Ken Starr, they got let go. Ken Starr because of a crisis in athletics, honestly, about all of that went on. And then John Lilly, who had other issues. I mean, there were other things that were going on, but the thing that pushed him across the line was he wanted to change the logo. It wasn't. I mean, that was the thing that pushed the straw that broke the camel's back, was messing with sports.
You mess with things like our traditional. That you get on the wrong side of that. By the way, Matthew Tolman back to Florida State. What if Florida State defaults on its loan? Does J.P. Morgan take over management of the school?
Yeah, I mean, that might be better. So, no, I don't know. By the way, Sarah Stock said her joke was they'll take possession of all the Bubba Burgers in Tallahassee, which are these.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was they do. Number 2, how long will we hear about the ACC now? Because once the dirt is kicked on whatever's left of the Pac-12, the focus turns to the ACC and how Florida State reacts. And like Brett McMurphy believes they'll be the first one over the wall. But what does that mean? How much will we hear about that? Is there anything that Jim Phillips can do to stave this off at the pass? Because Florida State, and if you go and read the minutes or watch back any of that Board of Trustees meeting or hear what was said, there were a lot of things thrown out there, and you can take the numbers that they put out how you want them or apply them how they are. But the bottom line is that Florida State as a university believes that they are top 20 in spending in their athletic departments in the country. They, have a great history when it comes to football, and they believe that they should be making the kind of money that particularly the cross-state rival is in Florida. That's what they want to wake up in the morning and get the same check that Florida does, and they've got to figure out a way to do that because the ACC situation was signed this long grant of rights that seemed like this great idea at the time, but really has now put the ACC in terms of now they have to deal with winding up as the 4th place conference revenue-wise. And so whether Florida State's right to do this or not, or whether it's smart to do this or not, that remains to be seen on how this all works out for them. But the ACC now moves into that Pac-12 position of let's try to make these people happy. And it's so different because the Pac-12 had an expiring contract, and the ACC is just the opposite. Theirs feels like it's in perpetuity.
Yeah, no, they're front and center now. How the Pac-12 reacts, how the ACC handles some drama, some unhappy people, at least one with the big ego right now, the Florida State, because they're on an island, at least for now. And then all of a sudden, after that settles down, others will be calling them going, hey, okay, let's talk.
It's kind of like an election where – nobody wants anybody. Like right now, there's a lot of schools in the ACC that technically don't want FSU to win this argument, right? Because it would be bad. No, they just want FSU to take all the bullets, and then they can just jump on with it. Like, I knew it was a good idea the whole time. Vote for this guy, which is not the case.
Yeah.
In the months leading up to the election. Number 1, does the SEC react? Do they really need to? I mean, they are so strong and so powerful, I could see them reasonably saying, no, we don't want to help out any of these teams in the ACC.
How many do they have after Texas and OU?
They'll have 16.
Okay.
We're fine at 16. Yeah. Our 16 is better than most. Yeah, I mean, I think they will react. I mean, you heard from all the powers that, or not powers to be, but all the, kind of big-time reporters that we had on the show that, yeah, they think the SEC will eventually have to react, but they can be so much more judicious than everybody else.
I would be surprised if they don't at least, if they react, it would have to be through whatever happens to the ACC.
Yeah. By the way, a question from Dustin
Archambo, Arizona State.
On the thing. If Florida State privatizes, then at what point does the government get really involved? These schools get federal funding. See, that's interesting because there's a law in Florida that apparently shields them and allows them to do this. So they're going to test that law. Basically, going to test the bounds of limits to see what they can do with that. So when does the government get involved? Well, apparently the government's already made it possible for them to do it. So I just don't know how they get